The perennial favorite, the banana, loved by folks both big and small, may not be around for much longer. Yes, bananas as we know them might just go extinct. Again. Let's talk about that. In the first half of the 20th century, supermarket bananas in the United States bore little resemblance to the bananas sold today. Have you ever had a banana-flavored candy and thought to yourself, this is not what a banana tastes like? Well, you were right. It's not what a modern banana tastes like, but it is what the banana our grandparents ate tasted like. Yep, the original supermarket banana tasted almost like banana-flavored candy, strikingly similar to what we recognize today only as artificial banana flavor. The bananas from back then tasted better, lasted longer, were more resilient, and didn't require artificial ripening. They were, simply put, a better fruit, and that is because they belonged to a different cultivar within the banana family. It was called the Gros Michel, and it remained the world's export banana until 1965, when it was declared commercially extinct. In the 1950s, a fungal disease cropped up known as Panama disease, and it nearly wiped out this strain of banana. It was first identified around 1950, and by 1965, over 90% of the world's commercial Gros Michel banana plantations were destroyed. The Gros Michel was basically gone, but people still wanted to have bananas, and the banana corporations like Dole, Del Monte, and Chiquita still wanted to stay in business. So, they had to find a new banana to sell to the hungry masses. The banana industry was in deep crisis, and they had to look for alternatives. The search was on, and soon it became clear that the popular Gros Michel would have to be replaced by a species of banana that was largely considered to be inferior. Banana growers settled with the Cavendish cultivar, and although deemed a wholly inferior product in many ways, it was quickly adopted by the banana growers worldwide because of its resistance to Panama disease, and today it is the only banana that most of us have ever known. These days, the Cavendish is a universal foodstuff, and supermarket bananas are pretty much identical anywhere you buy them. That's because they have nearly no genetic diversity whatsoever. The Cavendish banana has no viable seeds, so the only way to grow this banana is to basically take cuttings from a mature plant, root them, and then allow them to mature and produce fruit. This means that the plants are all clones of one another. They are essentially all the same plant. Every Cavendish banana sold in every store in every part of the world is basically from the exact same plant. This is one reason we call the Cavendish a monoculture, and it's the only variety that most commercial plantations grow, which is why it's now under threat itself from a new strain of the Panama disease. And once it infects one plant, since they're basically all the same plant, it makes it much more easy for it to infect many others. It's like deja vu all over again. One of the most popular commercial foods in the world is once again under threat. Now, there are over 1,000 banana varieties in the world, but the Cavendish alone accounts for nearly all of the commercial exports. Nearly 70 years after the assault that wiped out the Gros Michel, history is repeating itself. In Southeast Asia, another fungal pathogen has raised its ugly head. Scientists are calling it TR4. That sounds kind of like a Terminator movie, and really that's not far from the truth. TR4 is shorthand for Tropical Race 4, and it is a new strain of the Panama disease that's going after the Cavendish banana. The disease attacks the tree's roots and vascular system. In other words, the fluids in the plant cease to flow and the plant turns black and dies. But after the plant is dead, the fungal spores stay dormant in the soil. For the past several years, the disease has moved quickly, killing crops through Asia, the Middle East, Australia, and Africa. And it's nearly impossible to stop. TR4 is caused by a really common type of fungus called Fusarium. And just a single cupful of contaminated dirt is enough to spread the TR4 like wildfire through a plantation. Worse yet, it can be transported by wind, animals, cars, people, and even water, creating an infection wherever it goes. Its recent discovery in the Middle East and in Nampula, Mozambique, Africa, indicates that the disease is spreading and threatening bananas worldwide. In Africa, bananas are a critical food for security and for income generation for more than 100 million people. So this is no little problem we're facing here. While it has not yet reached Latin America, experts say that it's not a question of if it will, but when it will reach Latin America. The spores live in the soil and are able to travel easily in the wooden pallets used to load containers. So you can be pretty sure that given the globalized economy in today's world, it's just a matter of time. And even after the spores have been treated with compounds as aggressive as methyl bromide, which essentially sterilizes the soil, the spores still come back. The lack of curative and preventative means has inspired a mass fear of yet another banana extinction. Even though the disease appears to have spread to just 2 plantations in Mozambique, the impact on the local economy is already severe. The disease has already cost the company that owns the plantations about $7.5 million. A total of 230,000 banana plants have been affected and destroyed. At the current rate of infection, the farm is losing 15,000 banana plants per week. That's equal to $236,000 lost every week. No company, no matter how strong, can long weather a storm like that. With the banana plantations contributing over $1.5 million per month to the local economy, the potential loss of livelihood in an already economically depressed Mozambique is very real. Bananas are an indispensable part of life in this region, providing up to 1/5 of the total calorie consumption per capita. If TR4 were able to spread further in this region, the effects would be, well, unimaginable. So, can we stop this disease? Well, this disease is not more virulent than the one that killed the Gros Michel, but it is still spreading. And it's spreading because of the bad practices from 70 years ago are still in place. The banana industry is kind of in denial about this, and standard agricultural quarantines like fencing off the crops, cleaning and sanitizing tools and equipment, well, that's just not enough. Really, the only solution would be to burn the infected plantation down and start over, but with a different crop. Restarting with bananas isn't a good idea. It's not as easy as it may sound because remember, the fungus stays dormant in the soil for years. Besides which, in Africa, it's kind of a battle on 2 fronts. They're currently fighting another serious disease that affects bananas called xanthonomas wilt, a bacterial disease that started spreading from Uganda in 2001. So far, no cultivar has been found to be resistant to this new disease, which spreads through contaminated soil, tools, and insects. Again, we know of no way these diseases can be eradicated, but they can be limited if a wide range of strong preventative and mitigation initiatives are put into place, rigorously implemented, and seriously enforced. Still, all is not lost. Randy Plotz, a professor of plant pathology at the University of Florida, has conducted extensive research on banana pathogens and is one of the leading experts in the field. In short, he's the guy to go to if you have a question about banana disease. So that's where I went. When I called him, he told me that the extinction thing, well, it may be a bit overblown. See, he explained, while the Cavendish bananas may eventually become more and more difficult to produce, they aren't going to disappear entirely. There are things in place to guard against total extinction. After all, he reminded me, not even the Gros Michel bananas are completely gone. They're just no longer commercially viable. They're rare. Yeah. They're hard to find. Yeah. They're difficult to produce. Yeah. And that is what is probably going to happen to the Cavendish. So as we did 70-some years ago, we may be switching over to a new species of banana. One common misconception about bananas is that they will all go extinct because they are a monoculture or a single crop that has little to no genetic variation, which is to say they will not survive because there are no genetic mutants that are able to fight off this disease. But what needs to be specified is that bananas are not a monoculture. Not all bananas. The Cavendish bananas, or the particular variety of bananas that we're used to buying, yes, they are a monoculture, and yes, they are in danger. What you have to distinguish is that what we have commercially represents a very strong monoculture because everyone expects a banana to look like what a Cavendish banana looks like. But bananas come not only in yellow, but in blue, orange, brownish, and reds, and in all different sizes. But they're not commercially available or viable at this time because they're blocked by people's perceptions of what bananas should be. If we can get past the social construct of perfect spotless yellow bananas, we'll be able to tap into other species of bananas which are widely diverse, delicious, and not endangered at all. For those lucky enough to live in banana-growing climates, their farmers markets or local stores will sell a wide variety of bananas. Bananas of all shapes and colors. But to those of us in less tropical climates, learning that there are over 1,000 different varieties of bananas is almost unimaginable. It seems like sheer madness. But it's true. Unfortunately, only about half that number are edible. But they all grow in the wild. Some are just as sweet as the Cavendish variety, but have a different flavor and texture. Others, like plantains, also called cooking bananas, can only be eaten when prepared like vegetables. Some varieties look very attractive, but are not edible at all. The point is that there are many more banana varieties in the world than we may realize, and hopefully one or more of them can replace the disappearing Cavendish. But the new strain of Panama disease is not the only problem. You see, just as the Cavendish is under attack from the pathogen, local varieties are, kind of under attack from the Cavendish banana. India, for example, had about 600 varieties of banana in 1985, but over just the past 2.5 decades, the Cavendish has pushed out and replaced many of those local varieties, and some have been completely lost. Like, lost forever. Look, when you replace a varied multiculture with a monoculture, well, if a disease happens, you're in trouble. That's just nature coming back to bite you on the backside. Monoculture, to me, is just as dangerous as a disease like TR4. While diversity has been embraced by most other vegetable and fruit industries, that's not the case with the banana industry. The Cavendish banana is still pretty much the only banana in town when it comes to most export markets. Hopefully, its dominance won't lead to its downfall. But ultimately, history could well repeat itself and prompt banana growers to look for a new alternative. Currently, there is no good candidate to replace the Cavendish, and that is leading many people to begin a call for the creation of a GMO banana. Oh, don't even get me started on that.